Right. Hello, everybody. So I've done a few videos in between, but I've not done any official update videos because I've been working on the interior and I kind of wanted to make it somewhat of a surprise. At this point in time, I would say I'm probably about 2/3 of the way completed with the interior. Let's go ahead and take a look. All right. So here it is. I don't mind the bed area up there. This is just kind of storage for where we're at here. But here is the interior. Now it's going to look a little weird. I'm using a wide angle lens here. And I'm just going to walk around so you guys can see it. So I did a couple things in here that I think are kind of interesting. First and foremost, probably what you guys notice is the wall coverings here. So essentially what I did is this panel is a 2-inch polystyrene foam insulation panel. I covered it with a spray adhesive and attached a fabric, and this is duck. So in my discussion about the ceiling insulation, which was the previous video, I did the same thing on the walls. So you guys can see all of the walls. Now, the reason I did that is, or there's a couple reasons why I did that. One is weight reduction. I didn't want to put the insulation in and then put a second layer of sheathing to cover it up like some sort of paneling. The fabric has a marginal, it does have some weight, but it's marginal. And so that's reason number one. Reason number two is I thought it looked really attractive. These cabinets, which I'll talk about in a minute, are going to be have a finish on it that's going to make it look very much like this right here, or exactly like that. And I think that in combination with the fabric covering gives a nice contrast. I've seen some, campers or houses or RVs or whatever it is where the entire interior is wood. And for me personally, I think they still look great, but I think it's sometimes too much. So I think this provides a real nice contrast to the walls. So twofold: weight reduction and an aesthetic contrast. And then, of course, these will be exposed, and these are the actual supports for the overall structure. The cabinets here. So I kind of was delayed for about 2 weeks working on the interior because I was really trying to sort out this cabinet area here. This section really serves a number of purposes, and it's still not complete. One, in the bottom there, will be where a cassette toilet will fit. And there's going to be a door on it and some sheathing on the front half. I just haven't finished that. That first drawer, or that first cabinet you see right there, is going to be the heart of the power system, which is going to be a solar generator. I have this one in here now, but I might actually switch to something different. But we'll discuss that in a later video. But as of now, all of the wiring is complete. They're sitting behind this is a fuse box, and I've got the main lights that are on a dimmer. So this is going to be the main 5 lights in here. 1 there, 2 here, and 2 on either side here. This first switch is the 2 lights above the bed area. And the second switch is a set of exterior lights right there. I added 2 more switches that are not used right now, but I just added those in case I wanted to use them in the future. The middle cabinet will be storage. There will be a door on that opens and closes. And then finally, the upper section is the AC unit. This is a 5,000 BT unit. This cord will obviously be directed behind it. This is just sat in there for now. Now, in a previous video, I talked about my test with having AC in this and being essentially able to run it off grid on a solar generator. And that still stands true. Since that video and after some extensive testing, I realized that putting the AC unit at a higher location in the camper, though it adds weight in a higher location I don't want to, because cool air sinks, it's going to be more effective at cooling here. So I chose to do that. And this cabinet is also wide enough to where if I ever wanted to update this to an 8,000 BTU unit, I could. But I also modified the ducting system. So if you recall, or if you watched the last video, you saw that down here, which I had to do a little patch, I had some circular louvered vents that would allow for the intake and exhaust of the air. What I opted to go to was this door system right here. So essentially, inside of here, so this is the where the heated exhaust from the AC unit blows out, and this is the condenser fan coils here, or the large surface area aluminum to help dissipate the heat from the condenser, and the air blows out as a hot exhaust from here. So it's not going to show up here, but I built a plywood duct that fit perfectly around this. It narrowed in a little bit on this edge, and it is forced to blow up here. On this side, this is an intake. So these kinds of AC units have an intake on the top and both sides. So this space back up in here encapsulates around the entire AC unit, which is separated from the area where the exhaust would be. So the idea is when you go to use the AC unit, you would have to open this little door, and then you could use the AC unit. I coated this in the bed liner material because I understand that there's going to be some condensation moisture from the condenser. And also, let's say if I were running this in a light rain, for example, I want to, I wouldn't run this if I had a driving rain, but, just a light rain coming down. If a little bit of water got in this area or something, I'd be fine with that. And then the advantages, you guys can see I attached a little bit of insulation here. So when this door is shut, it seals up and has some insulation. So when you're not using the AC. So I really think that was a better solution. And not having the louvers is going to provide a lot more flow for the exhaust and the intake, which in my efficiency test was a big factor to having the AC run efficiently. I know that looks a little bit discolored. I've only have one coat of the finish on it. I'll put a second coat later and it'll match perfectly. I was disappointed that I had to patch this, but I have a plan for that, and I think the patch actually looks pretty good, and I think it'll be just fine in the end. But I'm very excited about this AC setup. Yes, it's not as convenient as maybe some RVs where, you just turn it on, or, you have a thermostat. This is still kind of primitive. But for my purposes and what this is, I think it's really a perfect solution. I'm very happy with it. So we've talked about how I installed the insulation, how I covered the insulation. We talked about the AC unit. Let's talk about these cabinets. So obviously these are just the frames right now. So most, whether it be a house or a van or an RV or whatever the case is, people build the cabinets, bring the cabinets in and install them. I did mine differently. These cabinets are actually constructed as an integral part of the structure of the camper. And I did that for a couple reasons. To improve the instructional integrity of the camper, weight reduction, and also efficiency of space, because it allows me to mold and build the cabinets exactly to the shapes of the camper. So let's talk about structural strength here. So keep in mind that this is the cross beam, and this part right here that this cabinet cross member actually screws into is part of the structural component of the overall camper. So what I used here, this is a product called, what do they call it? Premium pine, I believe. It's pine, but it's like a heartwood. It's very dense, no knots. It holds pocket holes very good. So I actually sanded away the finish I had put on here, used some Tight Bond 3 and obviously these pocket holes, and I attached this piece directly up against the cross member and the side piece to add a little bit of extra structural integrity. And I did that on all of the connection points with this with the cabinet frame here. As far as weight, if I were to have built a traditional cabinet, I would have had sides to it. I would have had a back. Now, these are not finished yet. Of course, I'm going to put a bottom on them. In some locations, such as this, I'll have a side to it. And then this one will have a door. This one will be kind of like a shelf, kind of like a little shelf nook area. This one will be a corner cabinet, and this will also have a door and a bottom on it. But from a weight reduction standpoint, the back of the cabinet is actually the cloth material of the insulation. So I'm saving on the weight of the back. Because I'm building this as a singular unit, I'm only putting in the side planking in the areas where it's necessary, which in this case is going to be here. I'll probably put a piece here and, down here, for example. But the back and the side of this cabinet is just a wall. And then also, from a space efficiency factor, if I made a cabinet and slid it in here, it wouldn't fit perfectly here. Let's see if you can see it here. This doesn't show up great, but for example, this joint, I actually had to cut it at an angle to fit this cross member because the cross beam arches up a little bit. But this allows you to use every bit of space efficiently with the installation of this cabinet. So that's how I'm putting these cabinets. Obviously, they're not finished. They're going to be stained. There's going to be doors attached. There's going to be bottoms. They'll look quite different when they're done, but I think you guys get the idea. Down here is going to be the kitchen unit area. So obviously, the countertop will sit on here. Over here, there's going to be a sink. And there will be a door here and a door here. And this will just be kind of closed off planking here. And again, this is built in the same way. You could see this entire thing functions as a structural component to the overall camper. I added this wood down here and actually caulked it in case there's ever any kind of, because there will be some water storage in here. If anything were to break or leak, it doesn't, it stays to the wood, and I'll add some extra finish in the bottom. So in these two spaces here, these are going to be benches. And then, I've showed you, I believe I showed you guys this, this surface here, which is actually some legitimate reclaimed pallets that the kids and I found in the desert. This bottom part's not finished, but that right there is going to be a mount for a lagoon table. So right here will be a table on it'll be a table on a lagoon mount. So a table that can swivel or I could pull off. And my intent is to have these two benches here and then have some sort of mechanism where I could pull the back cushions off and lay them flat and have an extra sleeping area here. It's probably a little hard to visualize, but that'll come together in later projects. Tell me, guys, what you guys think. I found this. It's like an aluminum thin design covering here. I was actually considering cutting two pieces of that for here and here to kind of add, just kind of, a decorative back. I don't know if backsplash would be the right word. I guess kind of a backsplash. But yeah, guys, this is where it's coming, or where it's at. A lot of work left, but a lot of work has been done. All of these insulating panels, both in the roof, back in the bed area, and on these walls, takes a lot of time. Cutting them all to shape, laying the fabric, fitting them into place, securing them. It's a lot of work. So a lot of the interior work has been doing that. And like I said, over here with this cabinet, I actually had to kind of demo some of it and rebuild it because I changed, you know, the design of where I wanted to put the AC unit. But, you know, I've putting a lot of time and energy into this camper, and I'm inclined to spend a little extra time and make sure it's right rather than, you know, just live with something I'm unhappy with if it's, you know, short of it being some very minor factor. And one final thing is, though this isn't secured where it will be, this will be the fridge that I will be using in the camper. This is an Iceco VL45. I've ran it. It's not on right now, but I have ran it for, you know, a couple days just to kind of test it out, and I'm very pleased with it. Uses very little energy. It is cooler, you know, but it's pretty quiet, uses very little energy. The compressor hardly kicks on, or just very rarely, and when it does, it runs just a short period of time. I will admit, in retrospect, it's quite a large chest fridge, but I think it'll serve my purpose as well, and go from there. So, guys, I appreciate you watching. I really like all the comments, and I've you know, been gaining subscribers daily, and I appreciate that. And you know, just let me know what you guys think. If you have any suggestions or ideas, or you know, what your thoughts are, just we'll go from there. Thank you.